All right, today we are going cover to cover on The Women by Kristin Hannah. I'm Jamie Livingston.
And I'm Sarah Lyles, and we are so approachable. All right, so I don't know. I had no idea.
Big question. We were just diving right into historical fiction. You've said you've never read historical fiction. How does it feel? Just a general,
Well, the hard part for me is I don't have any background to say, like, how does this rate up and, like, way to other historical fictions? Mm-hmm. I did learn a lot, so that was really cool. Like, things that I was like, I had no idea. Or if it was true, because obviously we're looking at still fiction. It's not a memoir. Mm-hmm. And so there's a lot of different parts of it. So understand, like, I'm coming with none of that background.
But not like a flat out, Jamie, I hated this. Why did you make me do this?
No. I mean, it was long.
Woohoo! Yes.
It was so long.
But good. I think the war was long, so maybe that kind of went with it.
The war was, I guess, again, we learned it. History is like, it was hard for me. History was long. I wish I would have appreciated it more when I was in it. And so I'm not quite sure I grasped how long that war was until reading this book.
Right, and how many people died. Like, it was brutal.
Yes. All right, speaking of brutal, what are your 3 words to describe this book?
Okay, my 3 words are gritty, infuriating, and gut-wrenching.
Oh, those are good words. Mine aren't as, like, deep and intense as yours.
That's all right.
Mine are tragic, restorative, and betrayal.
Oof. Ugh. That's why I was infuriated. There were so many times where I was just angry reading this book.
Yes.
Angry at society, angry at certain characters. Yeah. Betrayal.
Yes, lots of it.
Yes.
Man, and really, like, my heart goes out to a lot of the things that went on in our society. We've talked about, like, how our society already does for women or doesn't do for women. And then to go, like, historically, to kind of do a little bit of fact checking, I went and kind of looked up some of, like, there were women. Yes, there were women there. And maybe they were more outspoken about the women. But to find out how they treated the women, it was significantly different.
Well, maybe we start there. Do you think, I mean, that's the title of this book. Do you think that Kristin Hannah delivered on the title in this one?
I think so. I think her whole point, how I perceived it, was just how little the women were recognized for their service. And so, I mean, I've even talked to other women that are still serving today that feel like they are treated differently than the men that serve. And so I think that was, when I finished the book and put it down, beyond the love story, that's what I felt most impacted by.
Yeah, I was just talking with someone who was saying that she goes to the VA and people think she's staff or that she's just an outsider, somebody that is working there and not one of the veterans. And she's like, no, I served. I'm a veteran. I'm here for this.
Yeah.
The book really centers around Frankie, and so I could see it as being titled The Woman, because it is mostly about her, and we kind of just talked about how we kind of wish we saw more of her friends and their stories. But I think, even from the acknowledgments in the author's note, her point was that this was for all of the women. So we are learning Frankie's story and Frankie's path through Vietnam, but it is very representative of all of the women who have been excluded and belittled through all of this.
Right. And really, we just mainly, I mean, we get glimpses of a lot of other characters. It is a lot of Frankie. I mean, like I said, it's not a memoir. It's probably touched kind of towards that, but it's a lot of Frankie's life. So how did you feel about Frankie?
I really enjoyed her. I mean, a young woman, kind of coming of age. She kind of makes a brash decision to just up and sign up for the military. But she was also coming from this home where military service was lauded. It was something to, like, be proud of. And she thought that she would make her family proud by doing this, and she didn't want anybody to talk her down. But that's also like a life-changing decision. So to just go and do that on your own, that was significant. I will say that I loved Frankie and her insistence on being a good girl. Mm-hmm. She was a right and wrong queen, and I've said this many times. I'm an Enneagram 1, very strong sense of justice and the right and wrong. And so even in like the worst situations, she was standing true to honor and like holding her moral ground. And we did discover that when she did cross the line, it tore her apart. So you saw her kind of battle that. So she wasn't just a goody two-shoes. She does actually decide to make some choices that are questionable.
Right.
But they eat her up. And we see that she does need to kind of stick with her good and bad, the conscience there.
Right.
What do you think about Frankie?
I mean, I liked her. I again, coming in this, I was looking at like, how realistic is this? Is this really realistic? So I had to kind of put that aside for a few minutes because I was like, okay, what's the, likelihood? I know that this is a story. We're looking at this story and like her brother passes and then she goes, I was like, that was so hot, all of it, all at once. And so that felt like super heavy at the very beginning. And so I was like, all right, well, we only have 495 pages more to go.
You kept texting me, this is so sad. What are you making me read? This is so sad.
Well, because it was a little bit like, I think what got me that felt so sad was she had said, like, I've gone in, I've talked to other people, and I understand, like, this is not, like, this is historical fiction. So finding out and understanding, like, wow, there are parts of this that are real. Like, these parts are coming from real stories, from real women. That's what I think was so sad. It wasn't just like, okay, this is a fiction book. It's like, no, there's some history drawn into that. And Frankie obviously may or may not be based on a real person. I don't think it is.
I don't think she's based specifically on someone, but she does say in the back of the book that she really credits a specific Vietnam nurse and her memoirs. Like, she interviewed this lady and has read her book. And so there is a memoir, if you want to go and read it, that would probably pair with this book that is fiction. So yeah, she's going off of real life accounts and using that as a writer, kind of as the jumping off point to build these characters.
Well, that's even more depressing.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, it was just like, I get it. And really, when we think about it, that wasn't that long ago.
No.
Like, not even 100 years ago. And so thinking of all of that and how the women were portrayed and how families hid things out of not wanting to look different. I mean, I was so sad for her in so many moments, and that I was just like, oh my goodness, that poor woman.
What did you think about her parents hiding that she went to Vietnam?
I was so angry for her. I don't even know how she held it together. I mean, she kind of didn't, but like...
Studying abroad in Florence or whatever it was. Oh my goodness. I was lost
like
it.
In combat, like I was thinking, like, in that moment, I was thinking of her like at the operating table when they had to turn the lights down to be hidden, but she still's doing her job. I'm like, okay, yeah, you're studying abroad. I mean, I don't know how she didn't just go off on her parents.
Right. I mean, she shut down and was just in disbelief.
Yes.
I was sitting there in disbelief because how do you then correct that? Because in their polite societal circle, everybody's like, oh, well, how was your summer in Florence? And you're like, wait a sec. What? I came back a completely changed person.
Yes.
And nobody's even going to acknowledge that I was gone. You think I was on vacation?
I know. Even the way her parents responded when she walked in the door as a surprise was like devastating. I felt so bad for her because in my mind, she's like thinking like, I need this warm embrace. I could use a really good hug because I've been through hell and back. And
The fact, I mean, have you ever had a surprise go wrong where like you catch somebody off guard and it's really, you thought it was going to be exciting and then it just was a dud? Like that's what that was. And that's how she characterized it. Like, oh, I should have told him I was coming. But it was like, no, you are their daughter and you are returning from war. You are alive. Your brother didn't make it home alive. So many people didn't make it home alive. And for that to be the response, I was dumbfounded. It was so upsetting. It doesn't make it okay, but I understand why Frankie was having such a hard time when not even her family accepted her home.
Right.
I mean, being spit on and doing like all of that drama from just the ride home.
Yes.
And not knowing that was what she was walking into.
I mean,
Oof.
I was so sad for her. I mean, how did you feel about her parents finally, I mean, yes, this is long in going to the end, but staying on her parents, that they did kind of come around?
My thoughts on them didn't really change throughout the book. I was frustrated with them the entire time. Like there was no effort to understand what she had done. They never asked her any questions. They like doubted her abilities. It was just really sad. Even after her mom had a stroke and she went back and was helping her,
Yes.
I still feel like there was a big disconnect, and it took a really long time. I mean, I will say, I was crying at the end when her dad called her Peanut and like said he was proud of her, and I was like, oh my goodness, Peanut was my nickname.
Why did it have to take so long, right?
Right. That gut-wrenching. Like it was just painfully slow waiting for that. Like it has to come. It has to come, right? I feel like that was one of the reviews that one of us read was like, this was so unbelievable. How can so many bad things happen to one person? And I was like, well, I think that is actually pretty realistic in this situation. But I was upset with her parents the entire time. And then her mom giving her drugs, like starting her down the addiction lane. Like,
I know.
I realized that was a big societal thing as well. And those were being marketed toward women, mama's little helper pills.
Sure.
But golly, this girl was trying to get help throughout the entire book.
Right.
And couldn't.
Right. And they it kind of, like, I did some back thoughts and, like, reading back of, like, PTSD. Were they kind of aware of it back in the time? What did they kind of call it? And to me, it looked like they didn't really understand or even really know what PTSD was. And so thinking about her mom just giving her drugs, it's just like, oh, you're just having a moment. Here's something. Just get some sleep. You'll get over it, I guess. I mean,
well, that's kind of where Henry came in.
Yes.
Because Henry, the psychologist, right, like, was saying, no, you're not alone. Frankie thought she was the only one having nightmares.
Yeah.
And it was like, girl.
Because no one was talking
Nobody
about
would
it.
talk about it.
Right.
She tried to find a therapist. She tried to find a group. And everybody kept saying she wasn't there.
I know.
Every
There
time.
were no women
There were
Vietnam.
no women in Vietnam. And she's, but I was there. If you didn't meet one, it means you were fortunate enough to not get hurt. But that's where I was just like, did people actually say that? Like, how dumb can you be?
Right.
What do you mean there were no women? Even for those who were fighting, like it was the other soldiers that were saying that to her. Like, oh, there were no women over there. I was like, wait a sec. Were you there? I'm sorry. That doesn't add up. Like, I didn't understand the response she was getting from fellow veterans.
Yes.
From people on the outside, I understand. Like, I didn't know there were women over there.
Right.
Like,
Ignorant. Right.
I didn't understand. I didn't get your answer for the parents. How did you feel about her parents?
I kind of feel like you did. I was disappointed. In the minute she was, like, told them that she was going to war, to the minute she came home, I was like, maybe she'll come home. Maybe they'll have a... No, it got worse. And so then they trailed through. Yes, they tried to redeem themselves, give her a place to call her own. And she took that, and it was beautiful what she did with it. But to me, I just was so disappointed because they showed who they were throughout this book. And I was like, come on. Frankie deserves better. And so then I'm like, are there women that served in Vietnam that had parents like that? I'm like, again, why I kept texting you, this is so sad, because I kept thinking about the reality of it. And usually I read a book and I don't think about the reality of it. And I think that's what I enjoyed about this book, is that it made me sit with it like, this isn't just some made up story. There are women that literally served our country and they were treated like they...
Spit on.
Yes, exactly. And so to me, I was like, that is just... How dare us?
Right.
Yeah.
They're going to these marches, and the guys are like, ladies, this one's for the veterans, this one's for the men. And they're like, seriously, how many times can fellow veterans push aside these other veterans? She did all the same things that you did. Also, the fact that everyone kept saying she didn't face combat. And it was like, what?
Oh, because she was a nurse and wasn't like...
She wasn't on the front lines. I'm sorry, she was on the front lines.
Yes.
Like that mobile hospital was on the front line. It
sounded to me like they were bombed every other minute.
Right. Like, what do you mean she didn't see combat? She saw combat. She's
Yes.
having nightmares about having to duck and cover from bombs.
While she's dealing with someone who's dead, basically, and trying to keep them alive, and seeing all the men flood in and, just torn apart. I'm like, what? Then explain to me what combat is.
Right, because I'm sure there were other people on cushy deployments where they were out on the ship or they weren't right on the front lines. The fact that nobody thought that the nurses actually, were impacted by war. Like, you are literally sewing together people with gaping wounds and multiple limbs missing, and oh my goodness. Why didn't anybody believe them? I just wanted to shake somebody the whole time I was reading this book, and it was like, she tried to get help.
She did.
We talked about it in our last episode about being suicidal.
Yes.
And in this book, she is suicidal. I'm sorry, we were supposed to put a trigger warning at the beginning of this, because clearly we're talking about PTSD, we're talking about suicide, we're talking about infertility and miscarriage and all of these things. So we might take a turn here. It's already been dark, but why? How? She was suicidal. She was struggling so much and took herself to these places and was begging for help and was turned away every time. Why? Like that. I was just like...
And it wasn't until Henry came, and I feel like that's why she bonded so well with him, because it felt like someone kind of felt like home, finally someone's trying to understand me, trying to listen to me, and telling me that I'm not alone. And because she felt so alone, I mean, some of my favorite parts was with her friends Barb and Ethel. I really enjoyed them because they gave a different, they were kind of funny. They kind of and I see a lot of that going, I imagine if you're working in this tragic, heavy environment, you got to make it light.
Not that this is equitable at all, but working in the news industry where you are talking about gruesome, horrific things. I mean, most people, when I say I work in news, they're like, oh, I don't watch the news. It's too depressing. It is depressing. And so that's why in the newsroom, we are joking and we are lighthearted. And oftentimes, if I would have said the same joke to somebody else, they would have looked at me like, ooh, too soon, or that's maybe too edgy, but when you are, misery loves company, I guess.
Right.
When you're in the trenches, you have to come together. And so those friendships were beautiful.
Yes.
And the fact that they spanned the rest of her life, that was cool. And that they came to support her.
Yes.
And they supported each other through their different issues. But that being said, they never talked about Vietnam.
Right.
And that's where I also just didn't understand the whole middle of the book. They're living together and trying to help her through this, and yet nobody's talking about it.
Right.
Every time it said, I just need to forget. I just need to forget. And I was like, no. That's not how we handle trauma. We don't just try to forget it. We don't just try to, like, stuff it down deep, because that's not going to help.
Right.
But she tried. Like, that's what made me so mad. She kept trying to process this.
And she didn't know how.
Right. And nobody did. And that goes to what you were saying with PTSD. They didn't really have treatments or like plans in place for this yet. They were still figuring it out. But golly, why didn't her girlfriends speak up? I mean, at the end, I think Barb talked about how, like, oh, yeah, I had nightmares. It was like, really rough for me. And
hello?
it's like,
why do we not talk about this?
Right. And so the fact that she ends up at this, like, therapy barn and with the animals and is talking with all of these women, that was beautiful. And I was finally like, oh, okay, thank you. Like, something is being done for these people.
Yes, because I need it. And I think even, like we were saying, like we've previously talked about women, this again just clarifies how women are just supposed to just deal with it. And I mean, it's unfortunate that for some reason society tells us just to get over it, figure it out, like suck it up. But yet the best thing you can do is process through that. I mean, whether it be with somebody that has gone through it as well, or somebody that can help have a level head to say, yes, like this is going really, like this needs to be addressed. And how do we do that? I don't know, but let's talk through it. But society does a really horrible job. And I imagine 100 years ago, it was even worse.
Okay, why don't we shift gears a little and maybe go down the list of fellas in this
There's so
book.
many. So
we first meet Rye.
Yes.
He's the one that actually inspires Frankie to go to war. It's her brother's friend, very cute, already has a crush on him. He says women can be heroes too, which was something she had never heard.
Right.
And that resonated, and she wanted to be on her dad's hero wall.
Of course.
Why not?
Right.
That's all she's ever heard.
And because, I mean, you think about all of that, you're like, okay, Rye. All right, Rye, you're looking good. I mean, I liked him from that moment. When he came back and you find out a little bit more, I'm like, come on, Rye, really? I mean, I liked him up until he, when I saw his true colors, that he was married and he was alive. And I mean, even who was her friend Ethel, that quote, like, they men here, they lie and they die. And so I'm like, oh, is that like a early warning sign to her about like the men that are over in Vietnam? So,
did you see that as the warning sign?
No. Now that I'm looking back at it, I do.
So I think the first person that she really latches onto is Jamie.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Jamie Callahan? Yes.
That sounds
Callahan.
right.
And so that's the doctor that she's working with. And so he like trains her, and they are in the trenches literally together all the time. They know each other back and forth. There's sparks flying. It is definitely like a thing that they are both fighting, because she's holding the moral ground. I mean,
of course.
She found out. I mean, he didn't openly tell her at the beginning that he was married.
Right.
But she found out and then held that boundary.
Right.
And held it well. I mean, there definitely was something there. They both felt it. And she could have. They were at war. Like, you can justify whatever you want. But she held firm. And so that was one of the things that I thought was beautiful.
Yes.
What do you think about their relationship?
I liked their relationship. I imagine, like, while I was reading it, going, okay, they're bonding over, like, this horrible thing. They're in this really challenged thing. I liked how he pushed her and, like, gave her a sense of, like, empowerment. And so I liked that he was really good at, like, having her back. And so it's almost like he said, you can do it. Here you go. I trust you. And so I liked that he kind of brought that out of her.
Yeah. So what did you think when she realized that he was the one on the operating table, that he was
was so sad. I was so sad. I was like, oh, and I'm like, okay, well, he's going to die.
Well, and that was like she's shrieking as he's being carried out onto the helicopter. They're doing CPR.
Yes.
That was an awful scene. Like,
Of course it was.
And like, they stopped doing CPR and she's screaming at them, don't stop, don't stop, don't stop. And I will say that in our TLDR episode, you read a spoiler that said that her dead lover came back. And so in my brain, as soon as he
was airlifted,
seemed like he died, and I was like, she didn't ever get confirmation that he died. Oh. So that one stood out to me where I was like, he could have come back. They could have stopped doing CPR because he actually started breathing. True. She wasn't next to them. So I was kind of holding out hope that he was coming back.
True.
And so then when Rye came back, I was like, oh, it was him. But then at the end, I was like, oh my gosh, it was Jamie. Ah! There was a lot of emotions.
You had to read a lot more pages. Like, I don't know, 200 more. I don't know if that's how many. But yes, to find out it was when Jamie was at that wall, I was like, wow, like how cool of a moment. I mean, to be honest with you, I actually thought maybe her brother, because there was no, like, they had never, like, found the body to, like, give evidence. And so I thought, for some reason, I was thinking maybe her brother will reappear. But
there was part of me that thought that Jamie was going to show back up at the end. And he did. I also thought it was really cool that his name was Jameson.
Yes.
And he goes by Jamie. Hi. I was listening to the audiobook and I was like, did she just say Jameson? Yes. Okay. Very cool. So I liked that, but maybe before we fully discuss that, the next person in line, so she thinks that Jamie dies, and then she's reintroduced to Rye, and meets him over there, and he's this hunky feller, and he's an officer, or like a higher rank, and so they kind of toe the line there.
And he kind of like wines and dines her, lack for a better way to explain it.
Right. And she knows that there's somebody else in the picture, that he's engaged, is what she's been told.
Right.
And he goes back and has like his vacation or whatever. Like, maybe that was Jamie. Jamie had a vacation with his wife. But Rye swears he cut things off.
He lied to her. I mean, that's more betrayal. Yeah. Okay.
Right. But she didn't think she was doing the wrong thing at that point.
Of course she didn't.
He cut it off with his fiance. Turns out he was actually married. What did you think?
Well, he said, I said I wasn't engaged. Right. And I'm like, I know how you feel about cheaters. And so, yeah.
Well, and that's where Frankie and I are one and the same.
Yeah.
And the fact that he was using semantics to get what he wanted. Because, sure, the sparks were flying, and I think they could have had a good thing. But to lie and manipulate someone like that,
yes,
gross.
Yes. And to me, I'm just like, how dare you take advantage of her, because she's already fragile right now. She's going through so much. You get her this nice vacation. You guys go to this nice place, and she sees you at, I'm like, all right, in her eyes, she's like, the man I've been dreaming for,
well,
like
right.
my brother's best friend, my brother's best friend, like all the feelings.
It was meant to be.
Yes.
He's the one that inspired me to come.
Correct.
All of that. And so she doesn't see that as a gray area at all.
Right.
He's called it off, and so she's feeling really good about this, and they are meant to be together. So what were your feelings at that when he was, well, first she goes to visit his dad.
I know.
And like wants to plan a party when he comes home. Did you catch the, like, I know who you are, Missy?
I don't think I really no, I don't.
No, because Missy, you would think just meant like little girl. I know who you are.
Yeah.
And in that point, she could have been wondering, like, well, did he write home about me?
Oh.
Because if he knew who she was,
right,
that was it. But he was married to Melissa.
Right, which...
But wouldn't the dad have recognized Melissa? Like, that's where I was like, did you not see a different person standing in front of you? Did they look a ton of alike?
I guess that didn't stand out to me. Now that you're saying that, I'm like, did he have dementia? Was he like really
just
elderly?
not really looking at her or what? But then finding out that Rye had died.
Yes.
Did you think that he had died?
I mean, I think he did. I think I tried to take a lot of things literally. I really tried to like enthrall myself in this book and really like learn from it. And I think I tried not to like guess a lot of things.
Yeah. Well, that was one where right around the time that we found out that he died, they had said something about the lawmakers didn't even know the difference between killed in action, MIA, and POW. Like, they didn't know any of that. And I was like, oh, okay. Because the letter that she just read that said that he was killed said that he was KIA, killed in action. And I was like, he's probably missing in action.
Yeah.
Or like there was a semantics thing.
True that, yeah.
Back down to the semantics of
Yep.
it. And so I had the thought that he might still be alive, again, because we knew that a dead lover was going to come back.
I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry.
I bleeped it out of our episode, so hopefully anybody who's like listening didn't have that going for them either.
Hey, well,
But it had my detective hat on, so
That's funny.
I knew that somebody was going to come back. So I thought that Ryan was alive. Rye, not Ryan.
Well, I mean, and so how did you feel when okay, so he's coming back. She sees him on the TV?
The tarmac.
Yeah, the tarmac.
Yeah.
Well, she sees that he's coming back. And then all of a sudden she sees him, and then she sees him going over to his wife. And I'm like, literally, I had to read that over again.
It made me think of the Alanis Morissette song, Isn't It Ironic?
Oh,
And then
yes.
I met his most beautiful wife. Yeah. Just awful. And so,
Yes.
and that's when she flashes back to that scene in the O Club where he whispered something in her ear and basically had said, I've been married the whole time. And I just wanted to punch him in the nose. Like, she didn't hear what he said or she blocked it out.
Yes.
Like, that was a weird moment for me when that happened. And she was like, and he said something and I didn't hear what he said. And I'll never hear from him again. And I was like, well, okay, those words were probably significant.
Well, they were.
They were.
Very.
But maybe she wouldn't have been pining after him all this time and could have actually, like, closed the door on that. So the timing of that was all quite crazy because she was supposed to be getting married.
Yeah, to Henry.
To Henry.
Yes. I mean, Henry. Okay, Henry. Let's go on Henry.
Yeah.
Before I tell you, I guess I can tell you, I liked Henry. I thought he was a genuine man that really, like, I saw only good. I didn't really see anything but his support and love. And through all their challenges, I mean, like her finding out she was pregnant, he was like, let's get married. And like, so I saw that and just like, was like, wow, what a good and honest man to a good and honest woman. What did you think of him?
I echo that. And I do think that they could have been happy together. Maybe not the most joyful, reciprocal marriage, but he definitely loved her
Yes.
and cared for her. And he
Yes.
did deserve to experience that in return. And she needed a little more closure. But I think that she could have had a nice life with him. I'm glad they called it off.
Oh, I'm absolutely glad. I almost felt like, okay, Henry deserves better.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He deserves to be loved in return and not just be used for his general goodness. I mean, he was a good man, willing to marry her. Like,
Yeah.
the baby. It was really sad.
It was so sad.
That's another thing that maybe hasn't been talked about a ton, but like the women that
Losing all the babies and
having all the miscarriages, talking about Agent Orange and the
And that was a real
pesticides being
thing.
used. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know somebody who has MS because of Agent Orange. So like there's a lot that maybe got lost in translation or we didn't pay attention to in history class. Like that is like a phrase. We don't necessarily know that was the pesticide that they were spraying on the jungles so that people couldn't hide and they couldn't like attack.
Right.
And they were covered in it every day. And it was toxic chemicals and it had lasting implications. A ton of miscarriages. Like it's devastating.
Yes. Totally. I mean, and really, there's probably things that it caused that like cancers and
all of them were getting cancer in their 30s. And they were like, oh, that was a problem.
Yes. And so that was like, not only are you in combat, but when you come back, you're now dealing of the effects of Vietnam for the rest of your life because of things that they did. And so it was sad.
So we liked Henry.
Yes.
Did we like how Henry came back? Because Henry came back and kind of came to Frankie's rescue, putting her in his psych ward.
Yeah.
Right? And at that point, he's now engaged to a preschool or kindergartner teacher, like somebody who loves him in return. And like they're going to have a family. I think she had a kid already or something like that. There was kids involved and they were going to just be friends, like acquaintances. And like, yes, he still cared about her and she cared about him.
Right.
But that was the bounds of their relationship. It wasn't romantic and it was that he truly cared about her.
Yes.
And so I really liked how that kind of came back around.
It made me go, Henry is such a good person.
Right. He was ahead of his time, it seemed.
Yes. True. Yeah. And so, like, when all that happened, I was like, I'm so happy for Henry to find someone that loves him just as much as he loves them and to start this family, which he wanted. And so I just felt like, yep, I really do like Henry. I never felt like I didn't like Henry at all in the book.
Yeah. Okay. So Rye comes back into the picture. Rye's alive and still lying. I was so annoyed. What did you think? She, like, saw him on the beach and then followed him home in her car. What was going through your head while you were reading that?
I mean, I don't know. With Rye, I just had so many thoughts. Like, as soon as I found out that he was married, I was like, ugh, just disgusted with him. I mean, again, it's like, when can there be another Henry? She deserves a Henry. Like, there's not another Henry. And I kind of tried to forget that I gave you that spoiler because I was like, all right, well, okay, maybe this is the one that came back. And so then I'm like, okay, well, maybe she's going to find something else in her life. And yeah, I don't know. What did you feel?
I was disappointed. I think there is a lot of what ifs that Frankie was trying to play out and had already gone through so much trauma, had tried to get help and wasn't getting the help. And even, it was eating her up. She wasn't telling her friends.
Right.
She's having an affair. She knows she's having an affair.
Yes.
And sneaking around, not telling anyone. And secrets do that. They, like, eat away at your soul. Like, that's just, like, you can't keep doing that. And so she finally reached the point where, like, I'm calling it off.
Right.
And, of course, in that moment, he knows that the only thing that will get her to stay is to say, marry me. Make this legitimate. I'm calling it off with my wife. I'm finally divorcing her. And when she started, like, looking at wedding rings, I was like, girl, do you have proof that he called this off? That
he lied to you once.
Like, I need some facts. Like, if he's not here looking at rings with you, or, like, I was just like, I don't trust him at this point. Like, nope.
No.
And so the fact that then she sees them at the hospital, the wife is having a baby, and I was like, okay, yeah, nope, not happening.
Was that, like, baby number 2? Was that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, come on. I wanted to just rack him one.
Right. It's like, I promise I was going to leave her. And she's like, you're going to leave your wife with a newborn? Like,
I'm not going to do that. Because, again, she had that good moral complex of, like, I already did something stupid. Because, really, she knew. She wasn't telling her 2 friends, Barb and Ethel. She knew.
Yes.
She knew. And so it's like one of those things, like you said, lies will do that to you. They'll eat you alive. But if you're not telling someone, obviously, you know that it's wrong. And so, yeah, I was like, come on.
It was ugly.
Yes.
And so I was heartbroken for her again because she thought that he was redeeming this situation and like they were finally going to have their moment. And so now like truly everything has been taken from her. At this point, she's on the pills. She's just losing it.
Yeah.
And
goes
paddling out in the middle of the night to go surfing with her dead brother. And I was just like, oh my goodness, this is
she's spinning.
So sad.
Yes.
And like a woman who just needed some help. So there's a lot of love and trauma and things that she's processing. And at this point, she's like not even 30.
Right. I know. I mean, and she eventually does get it together. I mean, she had a statement, like, what do you think about her statement where she said, in some ways, the war years were the best of my life?
Yeah, I agree.
Yes.
And they were hard. Yes. They were rewarding.
Correct.
She learned and she saved people's lives. And I think that was beautiful to kind of finally come full circle when she's at the memorial and to think that, like, there are people's names who are not on this wall because of the work that she did. And there are parents who are coming to visit the wall today that have mementos or know that their son wasn't alone because she sent letters home. And, like, she had all these mementos and had done so many things for all of these people. Yeah.
I know. And really, she grew. Like, thinking of who she was at the beginning until who she is. Of course, you're going to grow, but think of all the tragedy she went through. And she spiraled. She went down hard and fast, but she came out of it. And then at the end, it was just like, look at how good. And she's helping others. And she took something really hard and really sad, and she's trying to give back. And let me just be here in this moment. And then when her parents showed up again, like I said, it was like, come on, yes, you're there. Show your love. Hold your son's photo. Because, yes, it is still sad that you lost your son. But be there for your daughter.
Right. And I think in that moment, they'd finally clicked.
Finally.
That, wow, our daughter is a hero. She was actually there. She did go through a lot. And, like, we almost lost both of our children.
And how horrible. Like, I think they did feel like we've not done a good job. And, I mean, they kind of go into a little bit of that, but that they didn't help her. And they weren't there for her the way they should have been.
What did you think about her re-enlisting and the fact that she decided to stay for another tour?
I mean, you got to think, like, as all she went through, I wasn't surprised by it. I mean, it's probably what I would imagine someone feeling like, this is my life, and this is what I've come to love and know. And so I want to get back and help people. So I wasn't surprised.
I wasn't surprised either, but it was one of those things where when she left, she knew that they were going to be understaffed. She knew that the only person that was going to be there and able to make a difference was, like, the totally green new girl who had no experience, whereas when her friends left, they knew that she was still behind and could man the tents and the hospital. And so I think that's something that maybe a lot of us in our jobs feel that, like, we're not replaceable, or, like, if we have to take a sick day, the world is going to end. And so I think that maybe that it felt like another rash decision on her part to stay for another year.
Right.
But kudos. I mean, that was a huge and respectable decision to make.
Yeah.
And to stay in that squalor, to stay in that hellhole.
I wouldn't want to.
Just spoke volumes. And the fact that her parents responded like, don't you dare, Frankie McGrath. You get your butt back here to California. I was like, well, too late. I already signed the papers, and this is who I am, and I'm doing a good thing, and they need me.
Yes. I was like, good for her. And really, I was like, don't listen to your parents. They don't, I don't know. Because again, I was like, I rolled my eyes when I was reading them. I'm like, ugh, come on.
So we live near Washington, D.C. I'm assuming that you've been to the memorial.
Yes.
I have as well, like multiple times. And I feel like anytime you visit one of these war memorials, I mean, there's multiple.
There's lots of them.
On the mall.
Yeah.
And it is, I don't know. The question is, has reading this book changed your perception or thoughts about Vietnam and the war? And I feel like this is why I said I wanted to do historical fiction, because it puts you in, it gives you the emotions, it really takes you there. So knowing what was happening and why all those names. I mean, you go and you look at that wall and it just goes
overwhelming.
On and on and on, and the font is so small, and like there's so many names on each slab, and it is just crazy. I know I have a family member's name up there, and it's one that like you can go and look for, and like that's like all that these families have left.
Right.
And it's just, it's heavy when you think about it.
It is. And actually, when you go up to these memorials, you get a sense of like sadness. It's very quiet and peaceful. But at the same time, if you allow yourself to actually put yourself in the moment, and I think honestly, if I were to go back to the memorial now after reading this, I think I would, number one, I'd probably look for the women's names, right? I think I would look for that because I'd be more cognitive of were there a lot of women? Were there not, like thinking about that, but also a sense of heaviness of just the expansive number of people that died. Because I've seen it and I saw that, but I don't think I've ever really truly taken a moment to go, wow, and how gruesome some of them died. And for my freedom, right? And so if you think of it that way, and I think I really, like, as much as this book was, and as heavy as this book was, and as sad as this book was, it really brought out a lot of things that I don't think I've ever looked at or ever thought about the Vietnam or the war, about how long it was, how many people died, how sad it was, not just like, oh, there was a war, because I don't know. I've never been in the military. I've never been in combat, but I don't think I've ever sat to think, what would it be like to actually go to bed with listening to bombs going off? What would it actually be like to be in a hospital where people are coming in like at one after the other, like that are just severed, and that person's not going to make it. And
so you don't even work on them. Like you just, sorry, and move on to the ones that you can save.
Not because can I try to save this person? I think that it really did give me a big difference and a big shift in my sadness for how much I felt uneducated about the Vietnam War. What about you?
Yes.
I gave you a really long answer.
All of that. I agree. And I think that it really gives you the appreciation. I want to pull a quote from the book that I think kind of speaks to this. And this is when she's in the hospital in Vietnam. It comes after a point. This is involving a baby. So please, if you read the book, you know how sad this is. But Martinez stared down at the baby. Jesus, he said softly, moving closer. He placed a black-gloved hand on the baby's body, covering the entire ruined ribcage. He will hold you in heaven. Frankie was surprised to hear that bit of faith from a man who stood in the morgue all day cataloging the dead, zipping up body bags. Then again, maybe you couldn't do this job otherwise. And I just thought that was so beautiful to see that glimpse of faith in the darkness.
Right.
And to know that, like, this isn't right.
Right.
This is darkness, and that there is still hope beyond this. And so I thought that was beautiful.
It was sad. Like I told you, I mean, it's probably a lot of text messages. And every time I saw you, I'd be like, why you're making me read this sad book? But again, I walked away feeling a sense of, we've got to do better at just understanding those that served, and even seeing like veterans that are homeless, and thinking like those that probably carry PTSD and never saw the help, of course they're spinning. We need to do better at helping our veterans. We need to do better at being there for them because they put themselves in situations for us, and like it's a lot.
Mm-hmm. Do you have more thoughts or anything else? I feel like we have gone through a lot. We can talk about the book cover, but if there's anything else that you want to highlight.
No, I don't. I think that we did this book as much justice. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot. Again, it's a big book. It's a lot of information. And I really would love that if there were anybody who had anything about the Vietnam War that maybe it was inaccurate or maybe there was more to it, I would love to actually hear about it because it just helps educate those that don't know, right? And it's hard. Like, I might be a little ignorant to it because I just don't know. And history books are written from a person, right, that may or may not have been in that situation. So I'd love to always hear from someone.
Well, and I love hearing that while you were reading, you were going and doing more research. Yeah. Like, is that really what happened? No way. Like, I need to fact check that. But I think that is what is really cool about historical fiction.
Yeah.
You can do your own research to see, was this something that she was embellishing for the story?
Right.
Because she does say that. I was just reading the back of the book. There's like a couple pages with the author, and she explains that in the original, she wanted to put fictional cities where, and like fictional hospitals, the bases that they were stationed at. And the people that she had reading the book first said, no, like the actual nurses who were reading this, she's like, you need to actually put the real places. They need to be factual. And so she said there are some things in the timeline that might have occurred not in the specific order when it comes to like the mass casualty events. But the cities and the bases and the places were all accurate over there. And she was using their pictures and other things. That was one of the things that I thought was interesting to learn about was like the O Club and like they were still having fun.
Right.
And, like, she went water skiing. Like, just, there's a lot of things that it wasn't all awful over there. But even while they're water skiing, they're, like, scouring the shores of the jungles for bad guys. And it's like, oh, wow, that is
because they're
crazy.
Constantly on guard, right? They're always like, let me make sure I'm safe. All right, so anything else that you...
I feel like we probably should have gone deeper into Barb and Ethel and
sure we could touch on them.
Living together and kind of going to the rallies and the fact that Frankie ends up kind of volunteering. Like she loses her nursing license.
Oh, that was so sad to watch. I should read. I watched it in my brain.
It was very vivid in my brain. Yes. But how she kind of dives into reaching out to legislators and trying to make the voices heard. Like, nope, we were there and we need help. And like, we want this memorial. We want this built. We didn't go back to talk about Jamie either.
Oh, we have to do that.
Wait a sec. So we're at the memorial wall and she's going down the line and she's going to find his name on the wall.
But it's not there.
It's not there. And he just says, McGrath.
I know. And she immediately feels like back in that moment.
Right.
Like, what? How are you here?
Right. And that was my question, too. And she says, you could have found me. Like, why are you waiting all of this time? And he says, I wasn't ready. It was really hard. Yeah. And she was like, oh, same.
Yeah. And so it shows that not only did she struggle, he did too.
Right. And they're not alone. I mean, they saw a lot of the same gruesome things. And that's where I'm excited. I think in our last book, I had said I didn't have closure. And in this book, I felt closure.
Yes.
Because they reconnected. He's at a spot where he can actually have a relationship with Frankie now. And she's in a good place.
Yeah.
Because she's helping people and knows that talking makes a difference and that we're not just trying to forget. We're not trying to just move on.
Right.
were actually working through the trauma.
Correct.
And so I'm excited for them to be able to actually experience this, because that's the one that we were rooting for from the beginning.
Right. Yes. And I liked that he's there behind her, not just saying like, I'll be there for you, but no, he actually went through it too. And so he can resonate with all the feelings that she felt. And so I'm sure that they unpacked more, but I felt like it ended beautifully.
Well, and he has a prosthetic leg.
Yes.
And he kind of like stumbles, and she says, I'm here for you. And it was like echoing the words that he had said to her. And it was just this beautiful homecoming. And I was like, man, why did it have to wait so long? But I think they're both ready for it now.
Well, yeah. Because I think what she did, again, maybe in her readings and understandings with other people, is people went through a lot and they like trauma bonded, right? But also that they had to kind of hit the like rock bottom. And so then they had to kind of pick themselves up. Some people, I think what also I sat with, like, what if she didn't? I'm sure there's people who sat there and stayed there. And so it was just like, I'm so glad that her story, and I mean, this is one person out of many people's story, that she was able to come back and that to find the man that we were all like, what a great guy.
Right. That was just beautiful. And so at the end, she's got her man. Her parents like her again. Like, it just felt like everything came back together. And maybe that is the unrealistic part. Not that, like, everything went bad for her, but that, like, it was wrapped up in a pretty bow at the end. But I really enjoyed that.
I'm glad it was, because it was so heavy and it was so hard. And it was like tragedy and so much betrayal that it was like, can we have something good?
Did it make you cry?
No, but I'm not a crier.
You're not a crier. Me neither, but like that, the last 3 pages, I was like, oh, so beautiful. This is so beautiful.
Oh yeah, it was beautiful. But I'm like, wow, okay, I'm glad. I was glad for it. Yeah.
All right. So the cover of the book, what did you think?
Oh, I liked it. After reading it, I'm like, And I also saw that she used to have a different cover.
Okay.
And I did not like the other cover as well. I can't remember what it was, but it wasn't this. I mean, this kind of shows, like, with the red, a lot of death, a lot of blood. I mean, obviously, the helicopter and the palm trees, I felt like it did really well. I liked it a lot. What did you think?
I was trying to decide if this mesh is
like gauze,
or if it's like mosquito netting or something, because I feel... I don't know. I like it. I don't know that it is why I picked up the book.
Well, no.
I like the helicopter, but this doesn't really tell me a whole lot.
Well, I would never have picked up the book. But in that, I did, and I'm glad I did. I mean, like I said, I walked away with something. But yeah, I liked it, but it wasn't like I was like, oh, let me judge this book by its cover. So, yeah.
Okay, so I very much enjoyed this book, and I have read a lot, maybe not a lot, but I have a fair amount of historical fiction under my belt, and I like the fact that I can learn and grow and question, I think, a lot of what you had said. And so with this one, it really did inspire me to ask more questions and to see how we have changed as a society and to try to process that. Yes, there was kind of the romance aspect of this where it was a roller coaster, but in general, I would absolutely recommend this book to other people.
Yeah.
It's big, it's heavy, but I love that it has the happy ending.
Right.
You don't feel like you're going to get there because it is so dark and gloomy.
True.
But I think, and again, I'll go back to our last book, and that it's a conversation worth having.
Correct.
And that it tackles a lot of topics that people have been keeping silent on. And why are we doing that? And so actually starting those conversations and letting people know that they're not alone, and that you can get help, and that just start asking questions and demanding to be seen.
Yes.
Demand to be heard.
Yep.
And get your story out there. So I had a hard time picking a number, but I know from our TLDR episode that this had a 4.6. And so I'm going with a 4.6 to be with the masses.
Nice. Okay. So for me, I don't have the history of like rating this next to something. So for me, I'm like, okay, what are historical fictions I'm grasping? They all kind of help you understand history a little bit more, maybe make you think more. I would never have taken the time to look up the Vietnam War. I never would have taken the time to understand the war like I did. And I appreciated that it did that to me. And so I felt a lot like it was a romance novel, but a romance novel that really made me think deeply. And so it was way bigger of a book than I would have ever picked up, like especially in my thoughts of like a romance novel. But I loved and appreciated the history it brought into it. It made me really think and sympathize for things that I don't know about. And so it also made me take a step back and go, let me try to do better about putting myself in shoes or even just sympathizing with things that like, okay, let me not give my opinion because it could very well be wrong. And so I really enjoyed this book. And so with that, I will say I'm going to give it a 4.5 because I felt that the ending was a little bit too perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I liked that it was all like happy because it was so sad of a book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It tied it up in a really pretty happy bow, which was good. We needed that. And so maybe that wasn't realistic, but it felt really good.
It sure
After going on that journey. So thank you for going on the journey with me. I am curious. I might have to pick up the memoir or find some other things to dig into because it did show me how much my knowledge is lacking when it comes to Vietnam.
Fair.
And I think for a lot of us, that's the case.
Absolutely. That's really the case. And I learned that's a whole lot of my case.
All right. Well, I think we'll pick a shorter book next time. This was really big, but I also flew through it because I knew it was bigger. So y'all can do that too, right?
Yes. On that note, keep reading.
Keep ranting.
And remember, you're so approachable. Okay, the episode is over. If you enjoyed it, could you give us a thumbs up or leave a review?
It goes a long way toward helping us grow and meet new people like you.
Subscribe to get notified when the next episode drops.
You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook to see what we're reading next, recommend new books, and join the conversation.
We're so excited to have you on board.
But I've been there. I'll have to show you a clip where me and my co-anchor both had a day of the sillies. Like story after story, there was some sort of flub, and like you just...
It was just like...
You can't even make it through. Like you are just like striving for a commercial break. Like, just get us to the end of the show. What is even wrong?
I eventually got it together. Whew. But it took me 15 tries.